Hi, this is Janos of Real World Audio, and Torsten of Snake Oil Audio. He just posted a really wonderful summary about equipment prices and performance, and I would just like to read his post out aloud because I 100% agree with him, and this is the best summary on audio equipment prices and what you get that I ever saw written down concisely. So here we go. I personally don't have a problem with gear that costs a fortune, and I also accept that even the most expensive system can't be perfect. The problem I have is that even the crazy expensive gear available is not great. In my opinion, if you spend something between $100,000 to open end, you get something decent. I agree with those observations 100%. And guys, that's it. So if you spend at least 100K, that means that you are at the potential where you are probably getting decent sound, but it doesn't mean that you are getting the best sound. And it doesn't mean that a $100,000 gear will sound 10 times better than $10,000 price system, but at least it means that when you pay that much money, you give a chance for the manufacturers to put in enough goods and enough talent and design to have something that has a good potential, but it's no guarantee whatsoever. Partially because the gear, everything has to be matched together, and it has to match the room where it's placed. So even if you are buying stuff where the individual components are, each of them are really finely done on their own, but they're poorly matched together, and the loudspeaker doesn't match your room at all, then that's a recipe for failure. So here the cabbage soup that inside the brain, that cannot be substituted for like dishwashing liquid. So it needs to be at least the human component to set things up properly, and that's why cost alone is not an indication that you are going to be happy or not. um, it is good enough to impress everybody who does not care about audio. Yeah, that's what I get too, that when I hear like really expensive systems that are at least decently set up, they have like a really impressive sound. So the big for non-audiophiles, so if you just get some wow, that's impressive. I never heard anything like that. But if you are already an audiophile and you have a system brewing at home, you listen to it, and then you can say that in most cases that 100K plus area, the most commonality I heard with those price things is that it has great power delivery, and there you I almost always see an edge with power delivery compared to most people's systems that are brewing at home, either with commercial gear or DIY or whatnot. But other than that, other properties is nah, they don't have an edge there. So don't, when you see gear that costs tremendously high amount of money, don't just keep on crying. You are not missing out maybe that much as you think that you might be missing out. And uh, and I'm on the same page with Torsten, is that it's okay to pay that much money for audio gear. If you have money, spend it on stuff that you want to spend on. And if you're a company, if you wanna build it and sell it, and you have customers to buy, build it. That's perfect. And let's take a wider peek now at the world of audio. So what does really that 100K plus uh, layer of audio get us? That those are the equipment that pay for the marketing, pay for the advertisement, so that more people know about this part of the audio equipment world, which is like audiophile systems, high-end systems, or whatever we call it today. Because let's just look at reality. When you talk to anyone you know who is not an audiophile, they have not even heard of audiophile stuff. Only those people, and not even all of them, who are into hi-fi, who are into music, who actually go out and buy a stereo gear, maybe a Sony or a Kenwood or Philips or whatnot. uh, Maybe like 10% of these guys who and girls who buy some stuff for them to actively listen to music, maybe 10% of them knows about audiophile gear. And and even that 10% knows because these crazy expensive companies, I mean crazy expensive products, they are paying for the marketing, they are driving, they are the biggest contributors to reviewers, to when we had like stereophile and absolute sound, and all of these venues were basically sustained by this expensive segment of audio. And that's how we get to know about audio. If they were not doing these products, then probably most of us would not even have run into audio. And yeah, so that's one thing. So that they provide awareness, they provide a certain level of calibration of what it is that you can achieve when you throw more money to solve an issue. And what I am helping with you guys is to help understand more how those prices are created, that when someone is selling a product, they have to maintain the product. And when you want to DIY something for yourself, there are completely different rules that apply to you on how much it will cost you. And you might think that if you DIY something, it will cost you much less, but it's not true. Because let's say if you are talking about an amplifier that maybe costs $100,000, let's say you can build something like that for yourself for under $10,000. But can you? You can't, because you need the knowledge and the know-how and the experience. So you have to put in maybe 10 years or more of learning process, so that when you shell out 10K for parts, you can put together an amplifier that sounds as good as a really well-made 100K amp, not just any 100K. There's like apples and pods and oranges and whatnot. But I'm talking about good stuff. You can DIY something that rivals a very well built, very expensive commercial product, but you needed to put in that much money, and you can think about that, like how much effort you put in over the years. And you are getting to a level where if you have put in that much effort into maybe a business venture, or just improving yourself, and putting that effort to go higher on the career ladder, now you would have that money to buy that 100K product. So this is really about the choices we make, and then its pricing is fine. I don't really have any problem at all with really expensive gear. The only problem I have about it is that it has a really polarizing effect for the society. And now we are seeing, or we have seen during the past 20 years, a massive decline in the economy. And I noticed that my friends um, who could afford playing around with gear at a certain level, now they can play around with gear at a lower level, because they now the money, because all the inflation is worth much less than it did 20 years ago. And the potential, when you have a salary, let's say you are a nurse, or you are a painter, uh, what you can buy, the level of that gear is much lower than what you could buy with the same profession same position 20 years ago. So so because of that, because of this steady decline in the economy, uh, most of us can afford less and less, lower and lower levels of audio gear, and the top level of audio gear is just running away with the prices. And for certain people, some people, this creates tremendous anger. And I am a culture historian, and I have studied this process in the history. And these types of processes are happening not just in audio, everywhere in life. And sadly, now it's generic enough that it has reached dangerous levels. Because when you look at the big revolutions that were really truly harmful to mankind, like for example the communist revolution, the basis of that was this giant discrepancy for products that an average person could afford, and products that the nobility, royalty, or the oligarchs or whatnot could afford. And that creates resentment. And that was the same thing that sparked the French Revolution too, and which now we regard to it as being a good thing. But when you really look at it, it was something extremely bloody and a traumatic experience, and it could have been something much more humane and much more adult and grown up, and not going back to just lopping off heads by the tens of thousands. It's just barbaric. Uh, so anyway, that's my worry about crazy high price products, but that's not exclusivity for audio. That goes for everything. Is that it does not spells good for the humanity on the long term, because that will create violence in society. And we are seeing it now in the US. If you have looked at the past couple of years, there's a tremendous increase of violence on the streets. And it's just really saddening, and questions that as mankind, what's happening to us? Are we becoming more adults, or are we going back to like I'm not even saying chimps, because even chimpanzees are more humane than what humans show with behavior at times, when they are desperate, when they are gullible, when they are driven by their fears and machinated by people who abuse their discomfort. And that basically leads me back to audio. So that's why listen to music, because music helps you to work with your fear, to transform it, to uh, understanding the world better, to be more compassionate about your fellow humans, to see more clearly, to be able to cut through the propaganda that you hear, to just gauge the intentions of those who are saying those slogans better. It's kind of like growing up as a human being, and music is the most powerful way for that. And also, when we have the um, tremendous negativity from TV and radio, is just abysmal. It's crazy. One thing that I did is that when I started university, that was the last day when I watched television, because at that time I just didn't have time to do that. And I noticed that it's just so much better. You're cutting out the a lot of negativity from your life, and we don't even notice how much negativity is being thrown at us on a daily basis. And from basically my university years, that's when I got seriously into audio. I switched the addiction to program television and negative news, like daily news. So at night, that used to be the program at home that my dad turned on the news, and we watched the news, and that's it. But it's like tremendously depressive. Before you're going to sleep, you hear about people being shot, about wars and all kinds of stuff. And instead of that, turn on your stereo, put on Bach or put on Bruce Springsteen or whoever you want to listen to, and go to sleep. Take that message with you, and that work in you when you are sleeping will help your subconscious to deal with your day, so that you go to work, you have a very hard time there, and then you go home, and instead of bombarding yourself with tremendous negativity, bunch of politicians obfuscating reality, coming up with alternate truths, uh, instead of that, just charge yourself up with music that you love, and then next day will be that much easier, that much better. And when you get into situations that are driven by fear, you will have a level head to look at that situation, instead of having all that anger or that anxiety built up in you. And people don't notice that, how negative TV programming can get, and how much stress and damage does to your life. And you might be saying that, okay, but how do I get the news? Well, then seek out news portals, or talk to your friends. So actually, for me, the best way to get news is to talk to people around me. They are sharing with me all the important things that are happening. And if you are maybe like working at the stock exchange or something, then you on purposefully go and seek out the information. That's not a problem. Um, However, that's just the important bit. Listen to music. That's why I'm really supporting audio. That's why I love that I found this hobby, and that's why I got into it, because I want the message of the music to be absorbed in my body, soul, mind, emotions, what else, anything that's there. And so now I'm finishing up Torsten's comment. I haven't gotten there yet. So basically, um, so we finished up with the, if you spend something between $100,000 to open end, you get something decent. It is good enough to impress everybody who does not care about audio. And but if you want something really amazing, then you have to build it yourself, and there is absolutely no way around it, even if you are willing to pay like $1 million. That's it, guys. That's how it is. If you want something really amazing, you have to build it yourself, and you cannot just substitute it with money. And because the reasons I just shared earlier is something amazing requires synergy, that each part has perfect synergy with each other, and perfect synergy with the room, perfect synergy with you, with your hearing peculiarities. Like, how sensitive are you to high frequencies? How well do you hear in the bass region? What's your perception of mid-range? How's your spatial acuity? All of those things will affect what you will perceive as perfect sound. And sound is the same, yeah, but every system is compromised, and you need that system that works, that has compromises, that works around with your biological compromises, to get um, that amazing level of experience for yourself. And I just want to share something with you. I have a friend who is a dealer who sells audio gear, and I've known him for 20 plus years, and he is one of the best audio salesman in the US. And I'm not meaning that he has like a fleet of Rolls Royces or Bentleys and he made himself like crazy rich. Under best, I mean that he has excellent ears. He has the experience to put together a system that you want. And 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 he just called me the day before, and he said like, Janos, do you have time? Can you come over right now? Actually, I haven't seen him hardly in the past 5 years because just even though my workplace is almost next to his store, his shop. But I'm just so busy, I couldn't make it. I was so happy, like, yeah, okay, you are here. I can drop by and visit any moment. And it's been 5 years, and I haven't had time to go there. So he said, now you have to come here right now. And he showed me something, and that was a system that was a focal speakers, uh, and not the most expensive one with the linseed driver, the 6-inch linseed drivers, and beryllium tweeter, and he had a quad amplifier running it, a $100 DAC, and streaming. And guess what? It had the best sound that he ever had during his almost 30 years, maybe 25, 30, something like that, as selling audio gear at even at those well over the 100K price range. And he put together a system just randomly that just really beats the socks out of most $500,000 to $1 million installations. And it has like $100 deck in it, and just some components which are just unusual. And yeah, no subwoofer, but the bass was better than any subwoofer system that he tried in his showroom. And he tried everything, every sub on the planet. And this no sub mid-level, mid-high level focal, not the Utopia, but under that, it even bested the Utopia, the base, by a huge margin. It bested the Utopia with a sub, or with a pair of subs. It doesn't make any sense to a normal customer, but it makes sense what Torsten is saying, what I am saying, that the only thing that matters is system synergy. And that's something that takes time to discover. So, and it takes yeah, it takes time to discover. So thank you, Torsten, for your awesome comment. I'm really 100% at the same page. And thank you, guys and ladies, for watching. Please like, subscribe. There is a notification bell thing. If you don't click on it, then YouTube will not bring up my new videos. So if you are wondering, hey, I have subscribed to your channel, but I don't see any videos coming up, because YouTube doesn't want to show my videos. It doesn't care. You have to click that notification bell stuff, so that when I put on a new video, which is every day, then you see it. So if you like what you are seeing, then just look at my channel, type it in, Real World Audio, to the YouTube search, and it will pop up my videos, because I have them coming up almost every day, because YouTube forces me to put videos. And it looks like my channel is slowly growing. It's still tiny, but if I don't put out a video every single day, then it's actually declining. And I have to put more than one video a day to keep the increase going. One day I will show a video, make a video on the view counts per day, and then you guys can see the shocking reality of YouTube, that even though I have like 1,500 subscribers, if I don't put out at least a video a day, it goes down the bucket, and I'm losing subscribers. And I don't know, maybe some people just get bored of what I'm saying, or not interesting, not good enough. But what I noticed myself is that when I'm watching YouTube and I subscribe something, often the subscribe thing doesn't show up. Or I load a new tab and I start watching another video from the same channel, and there it doesn't show that I have subscribed already. It looks as if I am not subscribed. I hit it, and then it shows subscribed, but in reality it switches off. It just flips the polarity. From it's like a yes and no, and it switches to no. And you think that you now have subscribed it, but you have actually unsubscribed from the channel. And that keeps on happening like many times. And geez, I thought I subscribed to that channel. Where it is? I don't see it. And then that's it. If you are watching in two windows, you subscribe on one, the other still doesn't show up, you click on there too, and you got yourself unsubscribed. So thank you guys and ladies and guys. Bye bye.